One David here with Gay Grit, and today I'm going to talk about something that can be really challenging for guys at this time of year. And it's this time of year. It's the holiday season. And for many of us, it is so difficult. We get the blues. We're comparing ourselves to others that seem to have it better than us. We're dealing with loss. We're dealing with feelings of loneliness. And granted, I know that there are those of us who also are out there who love the holidays. You eat it up like gingerbread cookies with all kinds of icing on them. And no shade whatsoever. I have to tell you, in my personal experience, I actually loved the holidays when I was about 6 years old. It was magical. There was nothing else. And I remember my parents were together and it was just, like what's under the tree and what's going to happen. And the family comes over and all that kind of stuff. But my parents divorced around when I was 7 years old, and my dad remarried a couple years after that. And the holidays after that point were really like a tug of war for me. It was my mom wanting me to always be with her and her family, and my dad with his new wife and their two kids wanting me to be with them. And David had no choice. It was a done deal. I was going to go with my mom. I had no choice in the matter. In fact, she said, David, you're my only family. And that is a lot, a lot of heaviness to put on a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old. It kept going on because that was the kind of tug of war that went on until I was out of school pretty much. And, the truth is, my mama, that wasn't her own, I wasn't her only family. That was an adult problem. She had something that she needed from me, and it was a representation. I represented family to her, and there was something that she got from it emotionally, having me at the dinner table with her. I had grandparents that were with us. She had two brothers, and we had cousins and family and all that kind of thing that would come over. So it wasn't like, a lonely time for her, but it got me thinking, having gone through all of that and having gone through that emotional adult figuring out of things I had to do as a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, adult problems of need and emotional whatever, it got synced up and aligned with the holidays. And so I equated that eventually with just sadness, anxiety, guilt, all these kinds of feelings, emotions that were layered on top of feelings of being gay. And it was really difficult, so that I didn't really develop a real fondness of the holidays. In fact, when I got out of school, I struggled with it. I had to find different ways. Some years were great, other years not so great. I went through long periods where I didn't want to have anything to do with it. And I know that my example is very unique to me, but I'm sure that everyone out there has a degree of family drama that may play into the reasons why they might not like the holidays as well. Or there could be other things too. They could have been in a relationship and they had a divorce as well, and then they miss their partner, or they don't have anyone. It's really frustrating and they're comparing themselves and on and on and on. So I decided, even just recently, that, you know what? I don't think that the holidays and the struggles and bah humbug and, being the holiday blues, I don't think it necessarily has to do with Christmas cards and candy and cookies and holiday shows on TV, holiday music playing in the stores. I don't think that is the reason why I dislike it or why there's an uncomfortable feeling around it. It's the meaning that I attach to the holidays themselves, the actual narrative that I write in my brain about it. And for me, my narrative was this guilt and this tug of war with my family. Me, the little David, not having to have any say with the adult problems that were around me. And so it became something that was very fraught with a lot of feelings of sadness, anxiety, comparison with other families that seem to have it better, etc. I found personally that the best way to really get through a trying time like the holidays is to really love on myself. And that took me a really long time to get around. In fact, I would avoid it like the plague. I would just overdose on movies. I would overeat. I would just do anything to avoid feeling or dealing with all the pain that was going on underneath me. And what I've actually come to realize is the more that I do that, the more difficult it is to actually work through it. It's like I'm punishing myself for having those feelings as if I'm punishing that little David that's inside and saying, how dare you feel that way? How dare you want to long for yourself? How dare you want happiness and joy? Who are you? And it's like you beat yourself up for that. And the best thing, that's the worst thing you can do, but the best thing that you can do is the opposite. And that's to really treat yourself really, really well. That means, if you think that the way to get around it is just kind of ignoring the holidays altogether, not putting up a tree, not having anything, not doing anything for you, maybe consider that maybe you want to create a tradition for yourself. It could be putting up a tree. It could be sending a nice little card of thank you to a friend during the season. It could be giving a little gift of a gesture of kindness to somebody. It could be something that actually is going to be good for you. And maybe perhaps you'll do something for somebody else, but really the most important thing is actually to do it for yourself. And I know that sounds kind of weird, giving to somebody else to give for yourself, but work with me on this one. I recently had gotten a new Christmas tree. I decided, you know what? I just really, because I went through a cycle. I've had good years and bad years for the holidays. Some years I put stuff up and sometimes I don't. And again, it's all symbolic of things. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna put this tree up. And so I bought a new tree and it sat in the kitchen for a while. And I decided, you know what? I'm gonna put that tree up. And I did, and I remember it was snowing the day that I put it up, and it was like a really strange snowstorm. We had it in Chicago, and then it just went away and it melted. I'm like, I'm in the mood to put up my Christmas tree, so I put it up, and oh my God, I cried. I didn't know what was going on, but there was like a moment where I was like feeling something, and I allowed myself to go through it and feel the feelings while I was doing it. And it took me like 3 days to put that tree up, but I did. And because I knew that if I did that, I would have something to look at and I have something warm around me and it would feel comforting to me. And that's really what I wanted because, that's what little David wanted. He wanted to have a tree. He wanted to have a warm glow and he wanted to have a sense of home. So I had to give that to him. I had to give myself that sense of warmth and that coziness that comes from the holidays. It couldn't come from anywhere outside of me. It couldn't come from somebody else. It couldn't come from being invited to a party. It couldn't come from being a really fabulous cookie decorator and winning an award or whatever kind of silly thing that you would think would be like a good Christmas memory. So I did that for myself. One of the other things that I've really started to think through as well is breathing. When I'm really stressed out and I'm really struggling with emotions that are really intense, and around the holiday times, they can be pretty intense. I could be just super anxious, super triggered, feeling about worry, trying to wrap up the year, what's going to happen in 2025, all these kinds of things. I would be totally like freaked out about it and wound up. And so what happens when I'm wound up like that, my breathing gets really shallow. My chest feels really tight. I'm like this all the time. I'm really like tense. And I could tell when I'm walking my dog, like he is pulling the leash and I'm getting annoyed. I'm like, why? He's so cute. And all of a sudden I'm getting annoyed because I'm feeling really, really wound up. And the thing that I've learned, the quickest way to kind of bring yourself to a really good point of equilibrium in your body where you feel calm is to actually take deep breaths. And so I would breathe in really deep, Hold it for a few seconds and then breathe out really slowly. Breathe in really slowly, hold it for a few seconds and breathe out really slowly. And what I would find is I would start to calm down. And I could start to really just say, let's step back. This isn't all that serious that's going on. And I can allow myself to, again, take care of myself because this wound up side is wanting to be noticed. That little kid inside me is like, you need to take care of me. You need to, I don't know what's going to happen. And you need to say, hey, let's breathe together. Let's just let's make it through. You can do it. And I'm saying this because I know these examples are probably, they might seem trite or silly or whatever, but practically I found that they work. In moments where I really need to have that check-in with myself, and again, this has taken me years to get around, years to learn, years to practice, even just to get that to sync up in my mind that that's what was going on. Because when you're living in memories like that, when you're living in like things in the past or family drama or whatever dynamics, whatever they are, you're kind of like an autopilot. You're like, I am running the show, and it's like that little kid is like, little kids who have tantrums, little kids that like pout, little kids that hide under the covers and won't come out of their room. That's kind of the feelings that we're talking about. And these are the kind of feelings that will come up for me, especially during this time, because I'm like, oh my God, I got to go deal with these parents, these adult parents that want me to take care of their damn needs, and I can't. I'm 7 years old. How can I do it? So that's all I have to say. I don't have really much else to say other than relax, breathe, and get through it. You know why? Because you deserve it. You deserve to be taken care of. You deserve to be loved. And it doesn't matter whether somebody else outside you loves you or not. You are deserving of giving that love to you.